Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that life after 70? It seems to come with a whole new set of rules. Some of them make sense, of course. But so many of the others, the unspoken expectations, they just feel like they're dragging us down. We tell ourselves that this is just a normal part of getting older. But what if I told you that the biggest threat to your health and happiness after 70 isn't your blood pressure or your cholesterol? What if it's the harmless little habits you've held onto for years? These habits create a silent trap. A trap that slowly, almost invisibly, shrinks your world until your entire life can feel confined to the four legs of a single familiar chair. It's a quiet nightmare that nobody talks about, this gradual fading away. As a doctor who has spent decades sitting with seniors, I can tell you this. True happiness at this stage isn't about adding more to your life. It's about having the courage to bravely let go. And today, I want to share the things that truly matter. I'm not talking about theory. I'm talking about reality. I'll never forget a gentleman named Richard. When I first met him, his world was his recliner. He'd joke about it, but his eyes told a different story. One of loneliness and resignation. His health wasn't just about his physical ailments. His spirit was tired. Richard's story has a happy turn, and yours can too. In this video, we will walk through 11 specific things you can quit, starting today, to reclaim your joy and health. The advice I'm sharing isn't from a textbook. It's from thousands of conversations in my office, listening to the real stories, fears, and triumphs of people just like you. And please, be sure to stay with me until the very end. The last point, number 11, sounds incredibly simple, but I have seen it be the single most powerful key to unlocking a happier daily life. It truly is a game changer. Before we dive in, I truly want to know how many of us feel this. If that idea of a shrinking world feels familiar to you, please comment a simple yes below. It shows me you understand, and it shows others in our community that they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. Alright, let's begin. Number 1. Quitting forced friendships. You know the ones I'm talking about. The phone rings, you see a certain name pop up, and your shoulders tighten just a little bit. It's that weekly lunch or that regular phone call that feels more like a chore than a genuine joy. We've all been there, and we often just push through it out of a sense of obligation. But there's a real, physical reason for that feeling of dread. From a medical standpoint, when you're in a stressful or draining social situation, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. It's the fight or flight hormone. It's your body's alarm system. And over time, constantly triggering that alarm can seriously affect your sleep, your blood pressure, and your overall energy levels. It's a biological reaction, a very real one. Here is why this becomes so critical after 70. Your energy is no longer an infinite resource. Think of it like a bank account with a fixed amount of money for the day. You simply cannot afford to spend it on interactions that give you no positive return. That feeling of being drained after seeing certain people? That's not just in your head. It is a literal withdrawal from your energy account. It's the reason you come home feeling smaller, criticized, or just plain exhausted, instead of feeling lifted up and refreshed. I remember a patient of mine, a wonderful woman named Carol. She dreaded her Tuesday lunches with a particular friend who always seemed to find something to criticize. Carol told me she would spend Monday feeling anxious, and most of Wednesday recovering. Finally, she just stopped going. No big drama. No confrontation. She just quietly reclaimed her Tuesday afternoons. She told me later, with a light in her eyes I hadn't seen before, that it felt like she had been given a whole new day of the week back. So, consider this a doctor's prescription. Give yourself permission to let those friendships gently fade. You don't owe anyone your precious, finite time. You have earned the right to save it for the people who charge your batteries, the ones who make you laugh until your sides ache, the ones that feel like home. Because those are the connections that truly, deeply keep us healthy. Number 2. Quitting eating just for convenience. Let's talk about the kitchen. For many of us living alone, mealtime can become a real challenge. You're tired, the thought of cooking a whole meal feels overwhelming. So what happens? You reach for a frozen dinner, a can of soup, or maybe just a bowl of cereal. It's easy, it fills the hole, and it seems harmless enough. But here's the medical reality. After the age of 70, our bodies become far more sensitive to things like sodium. Those convenient, pre-packaged meals are often loaded with it, which can have a direct and negative impact on your blood pressure. Furthermore, they are often stripped of the vital micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals, that your body needs for daily cellular repair. Think of it like trying to repair a house with cheap plaster instead of strong cement. It just doesn't hold up over time. The core reason this habit becomes so detrimental is that cooking for one can often feel lonely and pointless, leading to a cycle of poor nutrition. This isn't just about physical health. It creates a very real symptom, a feeling of sluggishness, brain fog, and a general lack of vitality. You start to lose the simple, profound joy that comes from savoring a good meal, and food becomes just fuel. I'll never forget a gentleman named Arthur. After his wife passed, he told me he lived on frozen pizzas for nearly a year. He felt tired all the time and had put on weight. One day, he decided to learn how to make one thing well, a simple chicken soup from scratch. He said the act of chopping the vegetables, the smell filling his home, it was like feeding his soul as much as his stomach. He rediscovered a purpose in that simple act. So please, I urge you, start small. Don't think of it as a chore. Think of it as an act of self-respect. Roast some vegetables with a little olive oil. Whip up a fluffy omelette. Slice a fresh tomato with a pinch of salt. Your body, and your spirit, will thank you for it with more energy and clarity than any convenience meal could ever provide. Number 3. Quitting a sedentary life because of aches. I hear this in my office every single day. Doc, I'd love to move more, but my knees sound like bubble wrap every time I stand up. The instinct is understandable. When something hurts, our brain tells us to stop moving it, to protect it. It feels like the safe, logical thing to do. But here is the science, and it's a bit of a paradox. Your joints are lubricated by something called synovial fluid. The only way to get that fluid moving and doing its job is through movement itself. When you stop moving completely, the joints actually become stiffer, squeakier, and often more painful. As we say in medicine, motion is lotion. A lack of motion is what allows the rust to set in. The reason this belief is so dangerous for seniors is that it starts a downward spiral. The less you move, the weaker your muscles get. The weaker your muscles, the less support your joints have, which can lead to more pain. It's a vicious cycle. The most common symptom is a world that slowly shrinks. First, you stop going for long walks. Then, you can't make it to the mailbox without getting winded. Before you know it, your entire world exists between your couch and your refrigerator. I had a patient, a 72-year-old man named Frank, who had practically become one with his recliner. His doctor gave him a choice. Keep sitting and watch your world disappear, or start moving, even just a little. So Frank started with 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes a day, walking to the end of his driveway and back. It wasn't much. But over time, 5 minutes became 15, then 30. A year later, he was walking 2 miles every day. He told me, "My joints still talk to me, doc, but now they just mutter instead of scream." So, I am not asking you to run a marathon. I am asking you to quit being still. Dance in your kitchen while the coffee brews. Do some simple stretches while watching television. Find a good chair yoga video online. Find the joy in movement again, no matter how small. That movement is medicine. It's the best prescription I can possibly give you. Number 4. Quitting biting your tongue. For most of our lives, we were taught to be polite, to not rock the boat. At work, with the in-laws, at family gatherings. We learn to nod along and keep our more controversial opinions to ourselves just to maintain the peace. It becomes a deeply ingrained habit. But holding back what you truly think and feel has a psychological cost. It creates a state of what we call cognitive dissonance, the stress of holding two conflicting ideas at once, what you believe and what you're pretending to believe. This quiet, internal stress can lead to anxiety and a feeling of inauthenticity, of not being true to yourself. As we age, this habit can become particularly damaging. Why? Because your time and your voice become more precious. After decades of working, raising families, and fulfilling obligations, you have earned the right to be heard. To not speak your mind is to deny the value of your own life experience. The symptom of this is often a feeling of invisibility or resentment, a sense that your wisdom is being overlooked simply because you're not sharing it. I think of a 74-year-old patient named George. He told me, "I used to just nod politely when my son-in-law said something I thought was nonsense. Now, I'll look at him with a little smile and say, well, that's one way to look at it. Here's another. He wasn't being mean. He was just being honest. And he said it felt liberating." Another woman, Eleanor, finally told her daughter that she actually hated the potato salad she brought to every family picnic. They both had a good laugh, and the next year, they brought a fruit salad instead. Please, understand me. This isn't about becoming rude or argumentative. It's about being real. You can be both kind and honest. Share your thoughts with a little humor. Offer your opinion gently but firmly. Stop saying yes when you mean no. You have spent a lifetime accumulating wisdom. Don't let it go to waste by staying silent. Speak your truth. You've earned it. Number 5. Quitting ignoring small, silly joys. Somewhere along the road of life, we pick up this strange idea that everything we do has to be productive. Fun has to be scheduled. Hobbies have to result in something useful. We start to believe that simple, pure joy, just for the sake of it, is somehow childish or a waste of time. From a neurological perspective, this is a terrible mistake. Engaging in play and activities that spark wonder and curiosity creates new neural pathways in the brain. It releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, which is essential for motivation and mood. When you deny yourself these small joys, you are literally starving your brain of the chemicals it needs to feel happy and engaged. This becomes especially important in our later years because routine can easily become a rut. If every day looks the same, our brains can become sluggish. The primary symptom of ignoring small joys is a life that feels gray. A sense of just going through the motions, where one day blurs into the next without anything to mark it as special. I'll never forget a gentleman named Walter, in his late 70s. He started collecting toy trains again, something he had loved as a boy. His wife initially teased him about it, but then she told me she saw a light come back into his eyes as he tinkered with those tiny tracks. He wasn't just playing with trains. He was reconnecting with a part of himself he thought was long gone. I also know a woman, Rose, who started singing to her houseplants every morning. Her son thought she was losing her marbles, until he saw how vibrant her garden was. She was simply engaging in a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. So, I'm asking you to give yourself permission to be silly. Blow bubbles on your front porch. Buy a coloring book and a fresh box of crayons. Hum a tune while you walk through the grocery store. Stop worrying about what other people might think. Those small, silly moments are not distractions from life. They are life. They are the little sparks that keep our spirits bright. Number 6. Quitting an overloaded medical schedule. Now this is a tricky one, because of course, taking care of your health is critically important. You need to see your doctors, get your screenings, and take your medications. But there's a fine line you can cross, where managing your health care starts to feel like your full-time job. Many of my patients have calendars that look like a medical directory. Monday is the cardiologist. Wednesday is the podiatrist. Friday is for lab work. By the end of the week, they haven't really lived. They've just been ferried from one waiting room to another. This creates a phenomenon known as treatment burden. The stress and exhaustion from managing the logistics of healthcare can sometimes outweigh the benefits, leading to fatigue and a diminished quality of life. The core issue is that your identity can shift from being a person who has medical conditions to a person who is their medical conditions. Your life becomes defined by appointments and pill schedules. The main symptom is a constant, low-grade anxiety and a feeling that your life is no longer your own. You're simply a patient, following orders. I had a patient named Bill who had this exact realization. He told me, "Doc, I spend more time in hospitals than I do in my own backyard." That was his wake-up call. He didn't cancel necessary appointments. Instead, he started scheduling what he called joy appointments. For every doctor visit, he would schedule a visit with a friend, a trip to the park, or an hour at the library. He balanced the have-tos with the want-tos. His approach was brilliant. He made his medical care a part of his life, not the center of it. So I encourage you to do the same. Take care of your health, absolutely. But do not let it steal the show. Your prescription for a good life isn't just found in a pharmacy. It's also found in laughter, in sunshine, and in a quiet afternoon with a good book. Balance the clinical with the joyful. That is the true path to health. Number 7. Quitting saying, "I'm too old for that." If I had $1 for every time a patient has used that phrase in my office, I could have retired years ago. I'm too old to learn the computer. I'm too old to travel there. I'm too old to try that new hobby. It's perhaps the most self-limiting phrase in the English language. Scientifically, our brains possess a quality called neuroplasticity. This means they can form new connections and learn new things throughout our entire lives. The idea that learning stops at a certain age is a complete myth. In fact, learning new skills is one of the best ways to keep your brain healthy and sharp, warding off cognitive decline. The reason this phrase is so toxic is that your mind believes the stories you tell it. When you repeatedly say, "I'm too old," you are creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. You are actively building a cage around yourself, and then locking the door. The symptom is a life devoid of novelty and excitement. It's a life lived in the past tense, full of reruns, where you are a spectator rather than a participant. I think of Robert, a 71-year-old man whose grandkids begged him to go ziplining with them. For years he said, "I'm too old for that nonsense." Finally, he gave in. He told me he screamed the whole way down, but when his feet hit the ground, he was laughing so hard he cried. He said it was one of the best days of his life. I also think of Susan, who thought she was too old for an art class, only to sign up and discover a whole new community of friends and a passion for painting. So the next time you hear yourself about to say, "I'm too old," I want you to pause. And I want you to flip the script. Ask yourself, why not me? Or even, what if I could? You might discover that the only thing holding you back isn't your age, your body, or your energy. It's just a story you've been telling yourself. It's time to start telling a new one. Number 8. Quitting neglecting sleep like it doesn't matter. In our culture, there's this strange badge of honor for not needing much sleep. We hear people boast, "Oh, I get by just fine on 4 or 5 hours." We treat sleep as a luxury, an optional add-on that we can cut short to get more done. Let me be very clear, from a medical perspective, that is a profoundly dangerous idea. Sleep is not wasted time. It is a critical biological function, just like breathing or eating. During deep sleep, your brain goes through a process of clearing out toxins and plaques that build up during the day, plaques that are linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. Your body repairs muscle tissue, consolidates memories, and regulates hormones that control your appetite and mood. The reason neglecting sleep becomes more hazardous as we age is that our sleep architecture naturally changes. We tend to have lighter, more fragmented sleep. This makes it even more essential to protect the sleep we can get. Pushing through on less sleep after 65 is like running an old car on dirty oil. Eventually, the engine will break down. The symptoms are often dismissed as just old age: irritability, brain fog, poor memory, and daytime fatigue. But often, it's simply chronic sleep deprivation. Many people think naps are a sign of weakness. I had one patient who felt guilty every time he dozed off in his chair. I told him that a short nap is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's your body telling you exactly what it needs. A 20-minute power nap can do more for your brain function than another cup of coffee ever could. So please, stop treating sleep as an afterthought. Make it a priority. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. Keep your bedroom dark, cool, and quiet. Treat your bedtime as a sacred appointment with your own health and well-being. Because a good day tomorrow truly begins tonight. It is the foundation upon which your energy, your mood, and your health are built. Number 9. Quitting watching the news on a 24/7 loop. In today's world, it's easier than ever to stay informed. But there is a massive difference between being informed and being inundated. Many people, especially those who live alone, keep the television news on all day long, as a kind of background company. Here's what's happening in your brain when you do that. News channels are designed to keep you watching. They do this by focusing on crisis, conflict, and fear. This constant stream of alarming information keeps your nervous system in a low-grade state of fight or flight. It continually releases stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which, over time, can lead to high blood pressure, anxiety, and a weakened immune system. You are, in effect, marinating your brain in stress all day long. This habit is particularly insidious for seniors because it can create a distorted view of the world. If all you see is chaos and danger, the world outside your window starts to feel terrifying. The symptom is a shrinking life born of fear. You become more hesitant to go out, more suspicious of others, and your world becomes a smaller, more anxious place. It chips away at your peace of mind, one headline at a time. It's like willingly opening your front door every hour to let someone dump a bucket of anxiety into your living room. I always suggest my patients go on a news diet. Check in once in the morning for 15 minutes to get the basics. Then, turn it off. Trust me, if something truly world-shattering happens, you will hear about it. What you will gain by turning it off is invaluable. Mental space. Peace. Quiet. Fill that reclaimed time with things that nourish your soul. Listen to music. Call a friend. Sit outside and watch the birds. Read a chapter of a good book. You need to be the guardian of your own peace of mind. And the first step is often as simple as finding the off button on the remote control. Number 10. Quitting thinking rest equals laziness. From the time we were children, most of us had a powerful idea drilled into our heads. Don't just sit there, do something. We were raised in a culture that glorifies being busy. We learned to equate productivity with self-worth. And because of that, many of us carry a deep sense of guilt whenever we are not actively doing something. Let me reframe this for you as a physician. Rest is not the opposite of activity. It is the essential partner to activity. Your muscles don't get stronger while you're lifting weights. They get stronger while they are resting and repairing after you've lifted the weights. Your brain doesn't solve problems by constantly churning. It often finds solutions when you step away and let it rest. Rest isn't laziness. It is a strategic and necessary part of a healthy, functioning system. This belief becomes harmful after retirement because, for the first time, our days are not structured by work. Without that structure, the guilt around rest can become overwhelming. The symptom is a restless, anxious feeling that you should be doing something. Cleaning, organizing, running errands, even when your body and mind are begging you for a break. Think about your smartphone. You plug it in every single night without a second thought. You know that if you don't, it will be useless the next day. You don't call your phone lazy for needing to recharge, do you? You must start thinking of your own body and mind in the same way. A 20-minute nap, an hour spent reading in a comfortable chair, or simply sitting on the porch watching the world go by. This is not wasted time. This is charging time. You have spent 60 or 70 years proving you know how to work hard. You have nothing left to prove to anyone. Now is the time to master a new, and arguably more important, skill: the art of resting well. It is an act of wisdom, not weakness. Number 11. Quitting sitting in the same old chair every day. This final point may sound incredibly simple, perhaps even trivial. But I assure you, it is one of the most profound. Most of us have it, that one perfect chair. The recliner that's molded perfectly to our shape, the spot by the window with the best light. It's our command center. It feels safe, comfortable, and familiar. But that chair can become a trap. Medically, when you stay seated in one position for most of the day, your muscles, especially the large muscles in your legs and your core, begin to atrophy, to weaken. Your circulation slows down. Your joints stiffen. Physically, the chair encourages stillness when your body craves movement. But the psychological impact is even greater. That chair can become a one-seat theater where you are the only audience member, and life is something happening somewhere else, off stage. The core reason this is so dangerous is that the chair becomes a powerful symbol of a shrinking world. The more you stay in it, the more it becomes the boundary of your existence. The main symptom is a life of routine that has become a rut. The days blur together, featureless and indistinguishable, marked only by the journey from the chair to the kitchen and back again. I often think of my patient Richard, who joked he'd worn a groove in his recliner so deep it could be considered an archaeological find. He admitted to me that his world had become incredibly small, so he made a conscious choice. He started having his morning coffee on the front porch instead. He took his newspaper to the kitchen table. On nice days, he would walk to the park and sit on a bench for a while. He didn't run a marathon, he just changed his seat. He said it was like breathing fresh air into his life. So my final piece of advice is this. Love your chair, but don't live in it. Make a conscious effort to change your scenery, even within your own home. Sit in a different spot. Read by a different window. A new angle can give you a whole new perspective. Don't let one comfortable chair become your whole world. You still have kingdoms left to explore, even if it's just the backyard patio. So there you have it. 11 things worth quitting after 70. And as we finish, I want you to think back to the gentleman I mentioned at the start. Richard. The man whose entire world had become his comfortable recliner. His story didn't end there. Today, Richard has his morning coffee out on the front porch, waving to his neighbors. He joined a walking group that meets at the park. He didn't perform some miracle, or change his entire life overnight. He just made a simple choice. He decided to quit his chair. And in doing so, he got his world back. Each of the 11 things we talked about today, it's its own kind of chair, isn't it? The chair of a draining friendship. The chair of a boring, convenient diet. The chair of the belief that you are too old. They are all comfortable, familiar places that quietly keep us from living. The lesson in Richard's story, and in all of these points, is simple, and it's so hopeful. The best days of your life are not behind you. They are waiting for you to clear out what no longer serves you, so you can finally make room for joy. As we wrap up our time together, remember that knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. So now, I have one important question for you. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video? It doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as, I will have my coffee on the porch tomorrow, or I will let that draining phone call go to voicemail. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments below. Reading them inspires me, and your commitment will surely inspire someone else in our community to take that first brave step. And if you found real value and inspiration in our time together today, show your support by giving this video a like. It truly helps me know that this message has resonated. To ensure you continue on this journey with us and never miss another conversation full of life-changing wisdom, please hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a community. A community dedicated to living our best lives together. Finally, think of one person who needs to hear this message today, and please share it with them. You might just change their life. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take good care of yourselves. You've earned it.